Well, all those crops farmers are so good at growing would be useless without a way to get them to market. We're talking about trucks now, of course. Just one problem, there's a massive shortage of truck drivers, at least for now. Here's Colleen Bradford Krantz with the story.
These truck drivers in training don't typically sign up at Iowa's Central Transportation Technology Center because of reports about a national shortage facing the occupation. But the Fort Dodge, Iowa faculty staff, who train the students to handle 80,000-pound semi-trucks, are happy to see the men and women walk in the door. This training center and others around the country know that the U.S. needs another 60,000 drivers. The first signs of a shortage were seen in 2005. Although things improved for a few years, the trend took a turn for the worse in 2011. The shortage has grown by about 500% over the past 8 years. Officials with the American Trucking Associations say the shortage could climb to 160,000 in less than a decade.
Eventually, the companies cannot fill the trucks that they have. They cannot haul the freight that they have been hauling in the past. And so then it's going to create delays in whether it be groceries, goods, so it can cause just kind of a chain reaction.
Experts at the ATA say the shortage is tied in part to increased demand for shipment of goods, but also to an increased demand for men and women with a clean driving record.
The drivers have to be very qualified now in order to drive for trucking companies. They better have a squeaky clean record in order to be hired by a trucking company.
At the same time, the Department of Transportation, hoping to limit fatigued driving, changed regulations in 2003 and 2005 to more strictly limit a semi-driver's allowed hours behind the wheel in a given period.
The hours of service rules have gotten stricter over the last few years. And that's also made a dent in the amount of money that a driver can make, and it also has made a dent in the amount of drivers that companies need because the productivity isn't quite as much.
Those factors, combined with the retirement of older drivers and a reluctance among drivers to be away from family on long-haul, multi-day jobs, have left the industry struggling. Dion Clayton, a 26-year-old from Fort Dodge, signed up for classes to get his commercial driver's license. The idea of traveling outside of Iowa sounded more interesting to Clayton than the factory jobs he'd held in the past.
I wanted to do something where I could travel, and that was my main motivation for being a truck driver. I've traveled quite a bit, but I haven't seen most of the United States, and I wanted to be able to get as many states as I can under my belt.
Clayton was only halfway through the course when he was handed a conditional job offer by an Iowa trucking company. He'd had no idea the nation was facing a driver shortage until he began his training.
I found out when I got here, and I was like, yeah, that's great, because I was told that this is a good time to be getting into the industry. So most students get a job before they even leave the program.
Agriculture has yet to be affected quite as severely as some industries. Many times, agricultural products, such as livestock or grain, only need to be moved a short distance, allowing drivers to be home most evenings. The idea of retirement never sat well with former farmer and emergency medical service worker Don Greiner. The Missouri man agreed to help a friend whose company hauls grain and fertilizer.
I can't sit around and do nothing. I got to be doing something, so this is probably as good as anything. Make a few dollars at it and have a good time, enjoy the people that I work with and other farmers, and don't want to be going over the road or something like that where I'm gone 2 or 3 nights a week.
During agriculture's busiest seasons, Greiner might work longer days than before he retired from his last job.
Well, I went to work at 7 yesterday morning and I got home about 10 last night, so it 12, 14-hour, 16-hour days aren't out of the ordinary here during harvest and planting season.
An American Trucking Association survey shows the average age of long-haul drivers is 46, younger than other segments of the industry. The ATA suspects older drivers or semi-retirees, such as Griner, avoid the long-haul jobs. The industry, which has about 3.5 million truck drivers, believes the best solution may be to bring in more women. Right now, females represent less than 7% of all drivers. Bringing in younger drivers may be another solution, but truckers currently must be at least 21 years old to drive an interstate tractor trailer.
I don't foresee the shortage getting any better anytime soon.
In the meantime, driver assist technologies are making life on the road a bit easier, and driverless semis are being tested in several regions. At least one company hopes to have the backup driver removed from the cabs in 2020. But the days where far fewer drivers are needed are still a ways down the road.
And at this point, especially considering how much is happening in the world, no sign of the shortage ending anytime soon. Truckers, we need you.